there is reason to believe that together we may be slowing down this devastating pandemic. There are now more than 432,000 reported cases in the U.S. At least 14,800 people have died, and that may be an underestimate because of a lack of testing. But take a look at this. On Sunday, one widely cited model predicted at least 81,000 Americans will die in this outbreak by August, with a peak around April 16th. But Anthony, just 2 days later, that projection dropped to around 60,000, peaking 4 days sooner than expected.
Yeah, that model is optimistic compared to some others, Gail, and perhaps for that reason it's favored by the White House, which is eager to reopen businesses across the country. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, is in New York City near the U.S. Navy hospital ship Comfort. David, how many patients are on that ship now?
Only 60, Anthony, and I was just talking to the Navy about why the count is so low. They were explaining to me they've got 1,000 beds on board, and of those 1,000, they have sectioned off 500 to treat COVID patients. So I'm trying to get an answer as to why the count is so low, because we keep hearing that the hospitals need help getting patients here to take some pressure off the hospital. So we'll work to get an answer on that. In all fairness, hospitalizations are down and continue to go down, even though New York just had the deadliest day yet.
The bad news isn't just bad. The bad news is actually terrible. Highest single-day death toll yet, 779 people.
Yet another sobering report from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. But he did add a silver lining.
There's no doubt that we are now bending the curve, and there's no doubt that we can't stop doing what we're doing. That's the good news.
As that curve flattens, concern for those enforcing law and order remains high. The NYPD says a 15th member of the force has died. 2,500 are infected. Nearly 20% of the force is out sick. In Chicago, overburdened hospitals already dealing with COVID-19 patients have now had to contend with more gun violence. 7 people were shot to death in that city Tuesday. 14 more were wounded, including a 5-year-old girl. Lori Lightfoot is the mayor of Chicago.
If our ICU are filled with gunshot victims, our ability to respond to this COVID-19 crisis will necessarily be compromised.
Chicago's Cook County Jail reportedly has the highest number of cases that can be traced back to a single site. That's more than the nursing home in Kirkland, Washington, where the coronavirus crisis started. The jail's active cases now number more than 400, although many non-violent offenders have been freed. Protesters on Tuesday demanded a mass release of inmates after one of them died from COVID-19. Cook County Sheriff says shutting down the jail is not an option.
I certainly can't call the Chicago Police Department and say, listen, those people you picked up for murder last night, those brutal murders, just keep them locked up in your office, handcuff them to a desk.
In Southern California's Riverside County, 84 patients were moved from the Magnolia Nursing Center. There are 34 cases of COVID-19 among the residents, 5 among the employees. The patients had to be relocated after employees there refused to show up for a second straight day.
I think their fear might have led them to make a decision that might not have been the right decision for their patient.
The state of California announced recently that it was going to send 500 ventilators to states around the country that needed them. And the governor of New Jersey tweeted yesterday that the ventilators arrived with a handwritten note. And what was written was, prayers from the West Coast. And Tony, they're arriving at the right time because we're told that federal stockpile, which the federal government runs and stocks, is practically empty.
Just in time indeed. David, thank you very much.